Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Piglet here once again, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Toy Story 2 for the PlayStation, Sega Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, PC, and a 2D side-scrolling platformer for the Game Boy Color. So, last time we have managed to able to completely done with those two levels, which there were Alice Spaceland, and also we managed to able to deal with the Toy Barn encounter. Well, we did manage to deal with those two levels. We also managed to take on the forms of two boss fights and doing it under that specific levels in mind. So even then, there's not much else to say here. So even then though, today for this episode, here's the fact that we're going to be continuing things on and moving on to the forms of elevator hop. And it looks like we're almost nearly towards the end of this game already, just because of how the fact that, well, to be expected, that, there's one thing I forgot to mention about this, is that in order to actually progress during each of the levels, is that you need to collect a certain amount of those Pizza Planet tokens. You know, it's kind of like the same thing for how it does it in, you know, another Pixar video game called A Bug's Life by Traveler's Tales. These exactly the same people as it made for this game. But I don't know, I actually had a lot more attachment to the forms of how it does it on the A Bug's Life video game on the PC back in the day, more than to the actual film. Because the actual film of A Bug's Life, I mean, it wasn't a bad film, but it's definitely not my favorite kind of Pixar's best. I mean, it's not my kind of thing though, honestly. But hey, at least we're playing Toy Story 2, that's the only thing that does matters to me though, because I remember, you know, Toy Story 2 a lot, even for not only the movie, but also the game itself as well, on the N64 version. So, you know, you get the idea. So yeah, as you can tell, that we're actually going to be hit on to level 10, which is known as Elevator Hop, and then in here, we might actually come across into ourselves our next power-up slash upgrade, if we can able to obtain one. And in fact, we need to able to obtain Mr. Potato Head's shoe, just because this is the only ones left. So even then, and I believe the last level we need to able to get into, well, I should say, nearly towards the end of the game, I should say, that we might actually come across into ourselves the final upgrade slash power up. But even then, let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet though, because as you can see, after returning back the actual shoe, this means we can now able to get ourselves a grappling hook. Which, in order to actually only do this, is that you need to use the first person shooting view, and then that way you can need to able to lock on into something related to this, so that way you can able to actually hang on to the forms of, you know, to the other sections during the forms of this stage. So yeah, it's a very interesting level, because if you remember from the film of Toy Story 2, where basically it usually takes place when Unity Belt Buzz managed to able to guide, well, specifically Ham, Slinky, and also Mr. Potato Head and Rex especially, they did manage to able to actually follow Unity Belt Buzz to the actual secret entrance to the actual the tallest building of them all, which appears to be Al's penthouse. But even then though, the only way they can go to there is the fact they have to use the actual air vents, so that way they can able to actually get into the actual elevator section. So, or in this case, for this matter though, you know, just managed to go through the actual, the hall itself or something. So, I know it's been a while since I actually saw Toy Story 2. I think the last time I've seen the film was actually the actual celebration of whenever I was gonna see Toy Story 4 during that particular time. So even then, I just want to classify that. So, anyways though, so today's day is the forms of, well, I mentioned about this already, about the fact that today's day is the forms of, what today is it actually today? In fact, I would say is that today's day is the 26th of November today in 2019. In this case, for this matter though, happy 9-year anniversary of Epic Mickey game for the Nintendo Wii, at least in the UK version. Well, despite the fact that I haven't really touched on that game just yet though, just because, well, there are some plethora of games I need to complete though, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, the actual most recent Epic Mickey game I've actually completed was actually the 3DS installment, and that's about it, because, well, it matches up the exactly the same gameplay style as the Mega Drive old days, like specifically Castle of Illusion, and also during the forms of, I would say Land of Illusion on the Master System for that matter. But even then, I haven't really owned a Master System, unfortunately, though. But at least there's another option to able to play Master System games after all, which is, of course, the actual Master System converter during the forms of Mega Drive Model 1. So, yeah, you probably get the idea for that point. So, and I think at this point also is the fact that not only do we need to able to explore, you know, the entirety of Elevator Hop, we might actually get ourselves enough time so that way we can able to do with the final few missions in the forms of alleys and gullies afterwards. Because, you know, after we got ourselves the grappling hook, this means we can now able to do more things for this particular point of, you know, the actual alleys and galleys level. But even then, I will point things out whenever we get to it later on. And as you can see, we activate one of those switches, which means that you can now actually activate the actual shortcuts if you keep on falling off in this level. So, but honestly, this level wasn't all that hard though, or not that tedious as it goes. But until, more accurately though, until level 13. I mean, usually I just got confused by that level when I was a kid, whenever I first time I played that on the N64 version. So, anyways though, and as you can see right there, that the actual main collectibles, as you can see right there, for the actual NPC characters as far as you can see, we need to collect every single mice. But before we do that, we need to solve this puzzle out. So even then, all we need to do is basically, we need to ground pound these switches, and then if you manage to able to line those different colored lines correctly into direct center, then you would able to actually solve this puzzle out. So even then, I think it's more accurately this. So there we go. That way we can able to, you know, not only open up the new gate, but also get this, we got ourselves the actual Pizza Planet token. So how nice was that? So even then, now we need to able to go back up again, because there's one little problem with this stage though, and that appears to be, you know, with the actual little mice that we need to grab, well, baby mice I should say. Well, there's actually one over there in the actual ceiling, but the only trickiest thing about this is that the actual hit detection, I swear to God, I was gonna able to obtain one of them, but it turns out I keep on missing it just because of the actual hit detection sometimes. But luckily for me, after about, I would say 3 attempts or so, that way I can able to instantly grab it from here. So, yeah, you probably get the idea. So here's the main gimmick of this stage, as you can see, is that we need to go through, well, depends on what platforms you're in. Basically, we need to go either up or down in draining forms of the actual elevator stuff, which is, you know, pretty cool as far as the actual levels concerned. About this. Although then again, if you somehow fell off, well, don't worry, because if you somehow manage to activate one of those switches, that, you know, with the actual air currents, they're able to actually lead you back up. Well, you can able to actually do that, specifically if you activate the switch. So, there's a definitely recommendable way if you do that though, because otherwise though, it makes the entire level not so much of an issue. So, yeah, you get the idea for that point. So, and like the usual objectives-wise, is the fact that, well, aside the actual the puzzle-solving switches that we've already done, as far as this point, we've already got about 4 more of those Pizza Planet tokens, I should say. I keep on saying puzzles for some reason because, well, at this point in time, we almost nearly towards the end of the actual puzzle missions until whenever we're completely done with the rest of them. So, but anyways, let's go up here and let's just go ahead and go over there to not only get ourselves our 4th baby mice, but also activate that switch so that we can actually activate the actual air current. So that way we can able to continue where we left off, rather than just able to go all the way back up while keep on using the grappling hook all the time. So, and I believe this is going to be a time challenge right here. So basically we need to go all the way down to the bottom while you're trying to follow the actual Pizza Planet token. And at the same time, there's a time limit. So, and basically in this particular challenge is the fact that we need to avoid a lot of bottomless pits because, well, although you don't necessarily fall off and die if you fall off to these sections like this. Instead, you're able to actually let the mission automatically fail and all that stuff. In fact, kind of think about it, these sections are always reminds me of Super Mario 64's, you know, the actual slide missions. Although, except the fact that every time you do, like a double jump or something, sometimes you're, momentum doesn't allow you to able to get a lot more movement in midair, so you always have to judge the actual stiffest movement on here. But regardless of anything else though, if you reach to the very bottom and at the same time grabbing the actual Pizza Planet token, then you would able to be rewarded. So, and I believe we've already got about 3 more objectives to go. So even then, because next of all we need to still find those coins to able to give it back to Ham, and also same applies for you know, every single baby mice that we need to able to find. So, but, you know, like the usual, we need to find, all 5 of them. So, nothing to worry about this, though, up until whenever we get to the very end, though, of the game, though. But either way, we'll point things out whenever we get to it, though. And I think this is going to be another one of those levels that we might actually get ourselves all of the Pizza Planet tokens all in one singular run-through of this particular stage. Because unlike, you know, these previous 2 levels so far for, you know, Al's Toy Barn as well as Alleys and Gullies, that we might actually come back into those 2 levels until whenever we hopefully get ourselves the requirement upgrade, or the actual power-up I should say, so that way we can able to continue things off whenever we left off. So, you know, you get the idea for that point. It's actually very simple, self-explanatory, at least to me though anyway though, but still. So yeah, you probably get the idea for that little points and stipulations go. So yeah, as far as the actual ending portion of this Let's Play is concerned, oh yeah, one thing I totally forgot to mention about this ever since during the films of, well, generally speaking about the fact that, you know how Sonic and Duffy, or no, Sonic and Sylvester actually, they managed to able to continue their Let's Play of Mario Kart 8 / Mario Kart 8 Deluxe recently, that they've totally forgot to mention about that one particular element that has been happened during the films of 2 days ago actually. And that is of course the films of, well, happy 20th anniversary of the Toy Story 2 film has been released in during the films of the public in the forms of United States of America. So, God, it's been 2 decades since Toy Story 2 film has been came out. I mean, Jesus Christ, time really does fly, doesn't it? So anyways, let's grab the... Oh, I was off by 1 coin left. I'll grab one as soon as we're able to get to it. But right now, though, let's go ahead and tackle through the next boss, which appears to be Spider Gunru, which is kind of a weird as far as the actual boss fight goes. Although, if you try to shoot him just to able to stand there like anything else, he obviously just trying to able to hover over the actual bottomless pit. Oh god, the homing flame! Oh jeez, it always reminds me of Sonic 3D Flicky's Island's final boss all over again. But, except the fact that we're on the 3D plane rather than just the actual isometric viewpoint. So, yeah, just like the usual, just keep on shooting him with his lasers, and booyah, he's down. And, luckily enough, we actually got ourselves, the final coin, so that we can able to give it to Ham. So, pretty cool though, especially because of how the fact that, as you can tell, if we manage to drop all the way downwards, well, it takes us back all the way for here, so... Not much else to really compliment on it though, but still. Now, I think we actually got about, 3 Pizza Planet tokens so far on this stage, but before you give it to Ham, however, though, I think I should probably able to actually keep on searching on something first, because, well, obviously we already got 1 more of that actual baby mice left, so I think it's gonna be somewhere in the actual elevators themselves, so... Oh boy, it's gonna be interesting to say the least though, but hopefully though we can able to find one exponentially without even like, you know, falling off and start all over again with the actual climbing process here. But hopefully we get a chance from this point. So, oh, okay, okay. Whew, that was pretty close as far as I'm aware. And look at that, there's the final mice just beyond over here. So even then, let's grab that. Even though somehow there is no way we can able to hit onto the control room for the time being. But don't worry though, I can assure you we can able to get ourselves our next Pizza Planet token, you know, for dealing with Ham first. While at the same time, we need to avoid a lot of those little sparks over there. In fact, some sparks will have to be, to me though, is one of the worst elements with the forms of using those little horizontal bars or even the actual zip line as a result. I mean, you can definitely know why whenever we get back into Alleys and Gullies levels. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and grab ourselves the 4th Pizza Planet token in this stage, if I'm assuming I can grab it. And now we need to deal with one more objective to go on this stage, which appears to be, of course, delivering all 4 or 5 rather of those baby mice. So even then, and when we're done with that, we are done with Elevator Hub. So it's actually not that long of the level, unless if you be fast enough, and even if you don't usually just manage to cope with the forms of the actual stingy placement with this baby mice on the ceiling in the control room. But regardless of everything else though, we are done with level 10. So it's not too bad though, not too confusing or anything like that. It's just a very nice little level as far as I'm aware. So, you know, you get the idea. So I suppose one thing I totally forgot to mention about this actually is the fact that the N64 version does manage to have themselves a different results music, because compared to the forms of the CD-based versions, specifically PlayStation version as well as the Sega Dreamcast versions, it always just goes like boo 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 do 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 do. Whilst in the forms of the N64 version is the exact same music that's heavily borrowed from the title screen theme on the forms of the PlayStation version / the Sega Dreamcast version and the PC version as well. So one thing I need to totally address that. So anyways, now let's return back to Alleys and Gullies for the final time. And if you can tell already, because after we got ourselves our grappling hook, this means we can now able to do more things such as, well, the actual boss. And also, same applies for, you know, just trying to deal with the forms of finding every single of those baby ducklings. So I think that's as far as we can able to say about this particular point. So even then, we'll hopefully get this thing started. So but yeah, there's not much else we can really say at this point, guys, because even then, though, at this point in time, we're pretty much almost towards the end of this game's Let's Play as of now. But then, I should probably point things out right away, is the fact that hopefully this Let's Play will be finished and during at the very beginning, at least in December. So even then, I really don't know if we can, considering the forms of, you know, trying to finish up with, you know, specifically other games here and there as well, such as the forms of, well, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, as well as, you know, Super Mario Odyssey and stuff like that, which, we're hoping we can get these games, finished and done with, but, even though right now is the fact that Mario is actually coming back onto Super Mario Odyssey recently, and the fact that he's actually pretty much done with, the first, the actual, the Cap Kingdom with, Luigi's Bloom World so far, and then next up he'll do until tomorrow, which is of course Cascade Kingdom, and all the other kingdoms later on though. So, and I'm afraid sadly to tell you this is the fact that originally about the fact that with Kingdom Hearts Final Mix in mind, that's about the fact that we were expecting to able to actually finish that Let's Play and during at some point at the very end of the year, but because of the forms of the actual heavy emphasis on the forms of uploading recording schedules for both, let's just say between Super Mario Odyssey and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that we can definitely finish those two up. But I really don't really know about Kingdom Hearts Final Mix for sure. I think we're going into similarities as the forms of Luigi's Mansion, I'm afraid, because I remember that when Luigi did manage to did done only one part in 2016, but then after about almost like 2 whole years since he actually did manage to come back into Luigi's Mansion and stuff like that. And then, well, after all that though, after the actual 3DS remake has been just announced for, you know, the Nintendo 3DS for Luigi's Mansion, the original game, then obviously Luigi actually comes back into that particular game. But, you know, I get a strong feeling with Kingdom Hearts Final Mix this time around though, because we were expecting to able to actually finish up for that Let's Play in particular though, but it's just a little bit of, it's just with the lack of the forms of the lack of upload schedules during that department, during the forms of August, and as well as the forms of the occasional moments where, you know, with Wi-Fi issues always becomes like a super, you know, annoying thing in the world, which because of that though, we were expecting to upload something new, but then it turns out we have to wait for a long period of time, unless if you really want to get those videos up. And then, you know, it just goes all over the place, I'm telling you. It just really goes all over the place, you know. But anyways, enough about that topic. So anyways, let's go ahead and just use the grappling hook so that we could, although we definitely need to able to actually just to guarantee by this point right now that how the fact that we're actually getting pretty close towards the end of November. So even then, if that's to be the case, well, we can assure to you we can able to get those Let's Plays done and over with. Well, one exception, mind you, which will be pretty sad, especially noticeable that no. I really hate those sparks. I really hate these sparks in the actual zip lines. Yeah, sometimes though, I will admit though, is the fact that the actual sparks in the actual levels like this, is probably the only element of how the fact that this is actually my second least favorite station in the game. Although, don't get me wrong, the music is pretty good in all, and as well as the actual environment itself looks pretty cool as well, but it's just that trying to go all the way up to the top on the actual rooftops or even in the actual house buildings or anything like that, it will take us a lot of hard work so that we can able to actually climb all the way up just for the sake of the forms of trying to able to get up there somehow. But either way though, it's just a little bit of a convenience that is. So even then, hopefully relatively speaking, we can able to try this again, and hopefully though we can able to do it as a much more better attempt than before. So, but even then, regardless of everything else though, it might be still not 100% guaranteed as it goes, but, you know, we can able to get that down and over with, so. But, you know, I might be biased, especially noticeable with all this stuff in mind, so, you know, you get the idea. So, anyways, let's go climb up, and then hopefully we could able to guarantee we could, you know, just trying to able to, you know, climb all the way up again. And then, you know, just trying to able to hope for the best to... Oh, I really hate when that happens right there. Especially noticeable, swear to God, I was going to able to climb all the way up. And especially noticeable with some specific happens like this, though. Although, I have no idea why I'm truly saying that, so... Anywho, though, another thing is worth mentioning, though, for the sake of the actual points, is that I will decide to able to change our mind with, specifically, when it comes to specifically, actually, you know what, forget it, because even then, it will still happen, so, anyway, so let's go ahead and just be very careful right here, and there we go, that's more like it. In addition to whenever we avoid the very annoying sparks for the actual patterns, as you can see, not only do we able to actually come across into ourselves into, well, specifically get ourselves the next duckling, which is actually required to get ourselves, you know, the grappling hook, but if we go all the way from here, well, I think we might actually come towards ourselves the next boss after about few days delay for able to actually get onto that stuff, so hopefully we can guarantee we can able to take on the next boss. So I wonder what boss could it be. Oh, of course we have Clown Top, which ironically enough is basically a clown but with a spinning top with the addition. So yeah, basically in this entire boss fight is very simple if you get the hang of it though. But the only thing you need to keep in mind is that the problem I have with this boss fight sometimes is the camera sometimes, because I swear to God I was gonna able to avoid the clown top as much as I could if I was trying to charge up my laser and stuff. But sometimes though, the camera always seems to mainly trying to able to go in an automatic mode, because I just wish if there was actually a manual camera feature, but it's always automatic in this boss fight though, which might be feels a bit off in this fight. And also, you really can't able to utilize the spin attack on the actual clown top, unfortunately. So the only way you can deal the damage on him is of course the lasers themselves. So a little bit annoying, and especially noticeable. I almost gonna die right there, which I think at this point is where the game starts to get significantly... What the hell? How did he get up? Ah, you idiot. Ah. Talking of which, this is actually the first death of the actual Let's Play, which is kind of sad because, well, to be expected from most other gamers out there, they most likely come across into some several trial and error annoyances like these ones, so... Hopefully, well, better luck this time around though, and good thing too, we actually did manage to regenerate our health after the boss itself is usually almost down for good. And, you know, good thing about the boss fights though is the fact that you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning of the actual phase, so you can able to continue where you left off, so... Yeah, it's not too bad though, especially how generous the checkpoints can be in this game, so... Anyways, let's drop down all the way from here, so that way we could able to do some more stuff. Specifically, the final objective in this stage, which is of course getting every single of those ducklings, which hopefully whenever we get back into Al's toy barn eventually though, then we can able to do this process a little bit faster. Specifically whenever we try to able to get ourselves all of these baby chicks, so that way we can able to actually do it like no problemo whatsoever. So you probably get the idea about this is, so even then we'll just keep on things moving. So you know, you get the idea for that point. So anyways, let's go ahead and... Whoa, we're almost gonna fall off for a moment, but, oh, no, 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 no. Well, no, 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 no. Get onto the stairs, Buzz. Get onto the stairs. Where's the momentum? Get onto here. Come on. No! The actual momentum is, like, blowing me back. Oh, jeez Louise. What happened there? I have no idea why I'm truly saying that, folks. Especially when... some situations like this happens, though, it just always come across as, like, desolate to me sometimes. But anyways, hopefully we'll try that again, and hopefully we can able to guarantee by that, so... oh boy. Especially how the fact that this will be the last time visiting this stage, so... you know, I'm okay with, because even then, though, we'll just have to move on to the next, you know, level in the process. Specifically, you know, Al's penthouse after this, so... but then again, we'll save Al's toy barn for the final visit for after we get ourselves our final upgrade slash power up or anything like that until later on, so you know, you get the idea. One thing I need to mention also is the fact that you can able to actually try those missions again, but the only rewards you can get is just curiosity. It's just basically you've already collected those Pizza Planet tokens to begin with. So yeah, it's kind of like the same thing for how it does it in, you know, in Super Mario 64. And I believe also Banjo-Kazooie as well, something like that. Even though I haven't really played that much of Banjo-Kazooie ever since the original game. But don't worry, whenever we get to Banjo-Tooie next year, it will definitely make it happen. So even then I just want to classify that. So, but you know, you get the drill here. So anyways, we actually got about 2 more of those ducklings left. And then we can able to conclude, you know, Alice and Gullies world. So even then... although, weirdly enough, as a kid, I have never actually beaten this stage 100% completed because, well, since after all, this is actually still as one of my second least favorite stages in the game, well, nothing compared to the forms of the 13th level, like, oh my god, it is such a tedium, I'm telling you, it is such a tedium as it goes, but, you know, we'll come across into that sure enough, but even then, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. So anyways, let's go ahead and go to the other side now. So that way we can able to, you know, just go ahead and find ourselves the final 2 ducklings. And then hopefully we'll be done with the actual level slash the forms of the mission itself. So there are some possibilities I'd like to discuss upon. But I'm pretty sure that Sonic and Sylvester has already mentioned about this before. In junior forms of, you know, in Mario Kart 8 slash Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Let's Play so far. So... you probably get the idea. Although, we were expecting to believe with, you know, trying to wrap things up with our Let's Play of Kingdom Hearts Final Mix or something like that, in journey forms of this singular day and stuff like that. Well, I don't know if it's possible that we can able to do a double uploader, so that we can able to actually, you know, complete that game whenever we move on to the next game in the series or something like that for the Kingdom Hearts games and all that stuff. But, unfortunately, though, that might not be seems the case, though. Well... at least as far as when I've noticing that, but then again, we have to wait and see what happens whenever when, you know, we're actually getting pretty close towards the end of 2019, so it's going to be another one of those, you know, delaying certain stuff for certain Let's Plays in mind, so, you know, kind of like how we did on the forms of, you know, Luigi's Mansion and all that stuff, because, you know, back in that particular year for 2016, well, despite with the absence of uploading schedules like this in 2017, well, you know, because we're most likely focusing on redo Let's Plays of the classic Sonic games between 2D and 3D games, so... but I really don't know if we can able to do the Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 at some point in the future, or even especially notable with Sonic Shuffle for the Dreamcast, which is the next Sonic Let's Play we could potentially try to do, but I don't know just yet though, because even then we slowly gonna be able to actually decide what Let's Plays are we doing. But you know, we probably get the idea for that. So Anyway, so thankfully we got ourselves all 5 of those ducklings, as you can see right there. And now let's head back into the forms of almost nearly towards at the very beginning of the level. And hopefully we can able to get ourselves the, well, what else? The next Pizza Planet token and also the final Pizza Planet token on this stage. So, yeah, you probably get the idea for that. So, anyways, let's go ahead and just go from here. And I think the actual duckling was actually on the actual section just about, over there to the right. So hopefully we can able to talk to him. And then after that, then we can get ourselves the Pizza Planet token. So, yeah, how's that for that? So I think we actually got about, I don't know how many Pizza Planet tokens that we actually got so far. I think probably about 29 or even lower than that. But even then, we'll have to wait and see what happens as soon as I save my game. So, or even just get onto the actual level select screen in order to actually just do that. So there we go. That pretty much takes care of the forms of level 5. In this case, my second least favorite stage in the game. But hey. Anyway, so let's go ahead and save our game. And let's see. We got 32 on the previous attempts ago, but now we got ourselves 34. So yeah, I'll miscount on that number. So join me next time on Let's Play Toy Story 2. Is that we're going to explore through Al's penthouse. So yeah, see you guys next time. Later, fellas.